Hello, my name is Louisa, and before we begin tonight's story, I'd like to just introduce myself as the creator and the voice of Sleep Stories with Louisa. And if these stories are helping you to rest, and if you're enjoying them, then please feel free to follow the podcast on your listening app. It helps others to find their way here too, so we can share a little more calm and better sleep. And if you'd like to share our link, we'd be ever so grateful. So thank you once again for listening. And let's begin. Hello. Tonight's story is a quiet winter arrival. A long walk through softly falling snow leads you to a small inn at the end of a mountain road. The effort of the journey fades as warmth begins to take over, and inside firelight moves gently across wood and stone, and an innkeeper has fallen asleep in his chair at the reception desk. The steady rise and fall of his breathing filling the space, and nearby a dog lies curled beside the fire, sighing softly as embers glow and settle, and snow continues to drift past the windows, visible but distant, as though the world beyond the glass has agreed to pause. And this is a place that holds stillness easily. A place where arrival is enough, and nothing is asked of you here. There is only the quiet comfort of having reached the end of the road, and the warmth of staying a while. And before we begin, allow yourself to get comfortable, not in any special way, but just enough. And you don't need to adjust anything perfectly. Where you are right now is suitable for rest. And you can let the body be supported by whatever is beneath you. A surface that holds your weight, so you don't have to. And for a moment, you might simply notice the natural rhythm of your breath, not changing it, just noticing it. Air moving in and air moving out. And there is no need to make the breath deeper or slower. It can move exactly as it wants to. And you may notice the jaw, the place where effort sometimes lingers. And without trying to fix anything, just allow your jaw to soften slightly, the tongue resting easily in the mouth, and your shoulders now can be be invited to drop the smallest amount, not pushed, just permitted, and the hands loosening. There is no effort required to listen tonight. Words may drift in and out, and they can move through your mind in their own time, like snow settling quietly without instruction. Nothing more needs to be done. The body is allowed to rest exactly as it is. The Snowbound Inn at the end of the road, and we begin partly along a snow-covered track. The path stretches ahead in a soft curve, its edges smoothed by snow that has been falling for some time now. Not quickly and not heavily, just steadily enough to change the shape of things. And behind you, the track has already begun to lose definition. Footprints fade almost as soon as they appear, softened and quietened until they no longer ask to be followed back. And snow settles everywhere with the same patience. On the ground, on low stone, along the sides of the path, the mountain air feels still, held in place by the cold, and sound does not travel far here. What remains is muted, rapt, distant. The walking has been going on for most of the day. Not hurried, just long. Each step placed where it needed to be. Each stretch of path leading to the next. And now the body carries that tiredness without comment. Not sharp, not heavy, just present. The kind of weariness that comes from having already done what needed doing. The track narrows slightly as it continues forward, the snow making fewer distinctions between path and ground, and there is no clear sense of turning back, not because it would be difficult, but because the idea itself has grown quiet. The way forward is simpler, and ahead through the falling snow, a shape begins to hold. At first, it is only a suggestion, a darker outline against the pale landscape. Then gradually, it becomes clearer. And in, and it sits where the track begins to end, settled into the mountain as though it has chosen this place carefully. Its walls are solid, and its shape is unchanged by weather. Light glows behind the windows, not bright, not inviting in any obvious way, just steady. The kind of light that has been there for a very long time and will remain whether or not anyone notices it. The snow does not seem to affect the inn at all. It just falls around it, collecting quietly at its base. And the building holds its warmth without effort. The track leads directly to the door, as though there was never meant to be another option. The closer you come, the more the inn feels settled, unconcerned, and certain of itself. And there is no sense of arrival being questioned here. The door stands where it always has, and when it opens, it does so easily. Warmth meets you at once, not rushing outward, just present, as though it has been waiting in the same place all along. Inside, the air is calm and still, and the fire burns low and constant at the far end of the room, embers shifting gently in their own time. Light moves across wood and stone in slow, familiar patterns, and this space feels held, not arranged for show, not prepared for change, just simply complete. And near the entrance, the reception desk stands quietly. Behind it, the owner has fallen asleep in his chair. His head rests at an easy angle, breath slow and even, as though sleep found him without any effort at all. And nothing in the room can call him to wake, because it's his time to rest and relax. And by the fire, a dog lies curled close to the hearth. Its body rests easily against the warmth, its fur catching the firelight as it breathes, a slow breath in and a slow breath out. The dog shifts once, resettling closer to the fire, and then becomes still once again. And snow continues to fall beyond the windows, visible now only as a soft movement. The world outside narrows further, losing its edges. And here the walking has finished, not announced and not marked, simply done. And there is nowhere else to go tonight. The inn holds that knowledge quietly, warm, steady, and unconcerned, as though staying was always the natural conclusion. Inside the inn, everything has already settled. The warmth does not change. In fact, it holds its place in the room. Gathered around the fire, lingering in the air, resting against the walls. And the door remains closed now, as the outside stays beyond the glass. Snow continues to fall past the windows, drifting steadily downward, with each flake following its own quiet path. Some pass quickly, and others move more slowly, but all of them disappear into the white below. The fire burns in a way that does not hurry. Embers shift and dim, and then brighten again, sending soft light across the floor. The glow reaches the legs of the chair near the hearth, the edge of the stone, the curve of the dog's back as it sleeps, and the dog remains curled close to the fire. Its breathing is slow and even, chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm that does not ask for attention. Now and then a quiet sigh slips out, and the body settles again without waking. Nearby, the owner continues to sleep in his chair behind the desk, his breathing moving at its own pace, unbroken, unconcerned with time. The room does not disturb him. In fact, it seems to breathe along with him instead. Firelight drifts across the reception desk, touching the worn wood, the edges smoothed by years of hands resting there. Nothing on the desk asks to be handled. The inn does not prepare for anything, because it is already prepared. And the chair near the fire holds its place, angled just enough to catch the warmth without leaning too close. The space around it remains open and untroubled. Light moves, then pauses, then moves again. The windows frame the snowfall like a quiet, repeating scene. White against dark. Movement against stillness. There is no pattern to follow, no movement to anticipate. The snow simply just continues, and the walls of the inn feel thick and steady, built to hold warmth through long winters. They do not creak, and they do not shift. They just remain. And wooden beams stretch overhead, darkened by smoke and by time, their shapes softened by years of firelight passing beneath them. They have watched many nights like this, and nothing about this one is unusual. The fire gives a small, quiet crackle, and then returns to its low, even rhythm. Embers glow, fade, and glow again. The dog's breathing remains unchanged. The owner's breathing remains unchanged. And snow drifts past the windows without interruption. The room seems to grow quieter, not because anything has stopped, but because nothing needs to be noticed anymore. Time loosens its grip here. There is no clock marking it, no sound dividing it into pieces. The inn holds everything together in one continuous moment. Firelight rests on the floor. Snow moves past the glass, and breathing continues, and the chair remains warm. Nothing arrives, nothing departs. The inn does not ask whether you will stay. It just assumes that you will. Outside, the snowfall thickens, smoothing the distance until there is nothing left to see. Beyond the window, the pale light shadows the trees and the mountains, and inside, the warmth stays exactly where it is. The fire has burnt like this for hours, and it will continue to burn like this for hours more. The dog sighs again, deeper this time, and then settles fully into stillness. The owner shifts slightly in his chair, not enough to wake, just enough to resettle, and the room absorbs the movement without change. Everything returns to the same gentle balance. Fire, snow, breathing. The inn remains held within itself, and there is no reason to listen closely now. No reason to follow the details. The space continues whether or not it is observed. And firelight will continue to move slowly across familiar surfaces, and snow will continue falling beyond the glass, and the night will continue to keep its quiet watch. Nothing here needs an ending. The rhythm continues. The fire remains low and steady. Embers shifting softly. Light rising and fading in an unchanging pattern. Nothing interrupts it. The inn holds its quiet easily now. Breathing moves through the room without any effort. Slow and even. The dog remains asleep by the hearth, body still, breath rising and falling in the same calm way that it has for some time. A quiet sigh passes through, then nothing more, and the owner stays settled in his chair. Sleep undisturbed, posture unchanged. His breathing blends into the warmth of the room, becoming part of the background rather than something to notice. Snow continues beyond the windows. It falls without pause, smoothing everything outside into the same soft motion. And there is no distance to measure anymore, only movement and quiet. And inside the inn does not respond, does not adjust. It does not wait. It simply remains. The chair by the fire stays warm. The floor holds the light where it touches, and the walls keep their stillness. Firelight moving slowly across familiar surfaces, tracing the same paths again and again and again, then beginning them once more. And there is no need to follow it. Everything important is already happening on its own. The rhythm continues. Snow falling, fire glowing, breathing steady. Nothing gathers speed. Nothing winds down. The night holds the inn exactly as it is. Time no longer feels divided. There is no sense of before or after here. Only this steady moment, repeating gently without effort. The dog's breathing remains unchanged. The owner's breathing remains unchanged. And the fire keeps its quiet work. Outside, the snow keeps falling. Inside, the warmth stays. Nothing asks for attention. Nothing calls to be noticed. The inn does not require listening. It does not require thought. It continues whether or not it is observed. And that rhythm holds. Fire, snow, breathing, again and again and again. The space remains steady. The night remains wide and quiet beyond the windows. The inn remains enclosed, warm and still. There is no movement towards anything else. No transition waiting. Just this gentle, unbroken continuation. Nothing changes. The fire remains where it is. Warmth steady. Light moving softly across the room in its own time. The dog continues to sleep by the hearth. Breath slow and even. Body settled fully into rest. There is no need for it to stir again. The owner remains asleep in his chair, breathing gently, posture unchanged. The yin does not disturb him. It does not disturb anything. Snow continues beyond the window, falling without pause, smoothing the night into quiet motion. Each flake passes unnoticed, replaced by the next. And inside the warmth stays gathered. The chair by the fire remains warm. The room keeps its shape. And there is nothing here that requires holding on to the words. They can fade easily as the light shifts across the floor. They do not need to be followed. And the yin will continue whether or not it is noticed. The fire will keep its slow rhythm. The snow will keep falling. The night will keep holding the mountain quietly in place. And you do not need to stay with any part of this now. The space remains steady on its own. Breathing continues. Warmth remains. Stillness holds. And as the words thin, the night continues quietly, exactly as it has been.